how do you try to compete at scale with Apple or Google when the only things, and I appreciate that that's the only things you're making money on, but the only things you're making money on are like, and so if this phone, yes, you're marketing it to all people, but if especially its types of strengths would be hold a lot of appeal to people who are in powerful positions, then I don't care if Pegasus is only tens of thousands of permutations versus billions. All it takes is those tens of thousands, and it can still get in there. And it's like you created a Trojan horse, potentially.
Again, this is why the off switch is very important, right? So it's like the reason we have a lot of people in high up in government and security using this device for this reason, because otherwise they're carrying Faraday bags around, which are, these.
Yeah, we're just talking to Kat. She has like 5.
Correct.
Yeah.
So these are bags that stop the phone from transmitting any signal. So our goal here is to simplify managing these issues. Does that mean that stuff is impenetrable under any conditions? Again, I think that's not only like impossible to claim, it's also like the wrong direction to be thinking about. So layers. So the phone can be taken. That's a problem. We want to protect people with this. The phone can be hijacked and turned into a mobile microphone, not if it has no electricity. So this is, and again, I think you're going to see with our roadmap is like going more and more in this direction of enabling people to have the benefits and conveniences of technology without their data being left like a breadcrumb trail all over the place.
You've kind of touched this today in little pieces, but I'd like to put it all together just so people can picture it and understand what it would be like. How does this phone work? And before you answer that, essentially the way we know it out there is we got Apple or we got Android. One's Google, one's Apple. And they both have an app store. They both have a certain type of UI. It's pretty accessible. The only problem is that like if you're trying to do a text on Apple, it's going to be green coming from Google, which was a brilliant invention, by the way, by Apple. But, they're these centralized systems that we're used to that are run by these two behemoths. You're now making something that isn't run by either of them, but can access the Google stuff to be able to run like it's an Android. Is that?
Yeah. So let's talk about software that it can run and sort of what the
mic.
Let's talk about the software we can run. Thank you. Let's talk about the software we can run and then what the experience is like.
Okay.
First, the experience. This is an Android phone, but it is de-Googled, but it does not run like an Android phone. I have mine configured like an Apple phone. So let me show you what I mean. Like here, I'm running Apple Music with the Android app for Apple Music, and I just like swipe up to leave it. So we have an iPhone interface that you can pick. Yeah.
Got it. Does it have it kind of has the wave feature that they patented a little bit, right?
Which is this?
You know how like Apple, they bought that company in Delaware like 15 years ago or 20 years ago that lets you slide it so that it doesn't slide automatically. It has a little wave, so it's satisfying. It has a little bit of that, it seems like.
That's all tunable. I mean, so for me, that's like a daily driver setup that I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
Right? So it feels like my iPhone. I've been on an iPhone for decades, right?
Yeah.
So it's like using a normal phone. I can use normal apps. We have this like iCloud equivalent type thing. Again, not equivalent because we don't hold the keys, right? So here's all my photos. I moved my entire iCloud over. We have an app called Uploader. You put it on your iPhone, all your photos move over, which is important for me. So like my whole life for the last, 15 years is here. And I'm running other normal apps, right? We have this App Center here, which by the way, I'm in airplane mode. I call it the App Center. We named it the App Center instead of the App Store because we are not monetizing third-party apps on our system. This is an important distinction.
How does that even work? Don't some apps have to sell for money?
They can sell, and we're not going to get a cut. I don't want a cut. I do not want a cut at all. I want our business model to not have anything to do with third-party software.
How do you make money?
I sell 2 things, a phone and accessories, and a software package. So the software package, I just showed you the photos storage. That's one of the components, just like iCloud, right? So we sell for $12.99 and $19.99, 2 different tiers. We have, so here.
Is that $12.99 or
Correct.
$1,200?
No, so the phone is $9.89.
Okay,
So
so below 1,000.
the phone is below, and we're keeping it below 1,000 as we bring production here, which we should talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna, because I don't know how you even
I know
compete.
it's crazy. So, so the phone's $989, and then we have a software subscription for a handful of services that you don't need to have on the phone. The phone works without them, but there's some privacy benefits with these that are $12.99 a month or $19.99 a month, depending on how much you use. And those are only starting the second year. They're free for the first year.
Before we even get to bringing the jobs back to the U.S. and the financial implications of that, how do you try to compete at scale with fucking Apple or Google when the only things, and I appreciate that that's the only things you're making money on, but the only things you're making money on are like some sort of probably small profit margin on the phone, and then a little subscription plan month to month on software?
The answer is we keep it small. We're an open source company. We're big believers in open source. So, we're not having to build everything ourselves. We leverage open and contribute back to open source projects. I think there are trends that make this possible, and I'll describe these. Why I think this is why I made this big bet. The main thing that makes this possible is that all of the software, like our experience of the phones, is primarily cross-platform apps. Very little of what sticks you to iPhone is iPhone only. It's like most of what you're doing is third-party stuff. Most of what you're doing, okay? Not all of it, most of it. So that's a trend that favors us. Is if I build a platform that all these apps can work on, well, then I've solved my big software problem. That's one. Two, I think we've left the world where people are really excited every year about the new phone. Like, oh, the line around the block. Whoa, the new iPhone 4, right? That's in the past.
I agree.
So the hardware has been largely commoditized. I think that we have a vision of like, instead of a new SKU every year, it's more like we make a really good phone every 3 or 4 years. We optimize the hell out of the OS, and we are not selling people a new phone every year. This is one of the things that makes it possible to produce here, by the way. I'll explain that in more detail. So again, that brings our cost down. I'm not designing a new phone every year. That brings our cost down a lot. So that's a trend that's in our favor, right? There's also things like RCS. RCS is an open source, or not really. It's an open standard that allows data messaging from Android to iPhone, so you can retain group chats and send large photos and videos. That's an important thing that allows you to have like a phone outside of the big ecosystems, right? There's a lot we're able to take advantage of that 5 years ago wouldn't have been possible. Then there's sort of like so technically you can make the phone, you can make a little margin on the phone. We actually last year we've been cash flow positive, so it's great. You know what I mean? We're doing all right. We're making it happen. But then there's like culturally, why is this the right time? And I think people are more ripe than ever, and they're becoming readier every day to adopt products that align with their values. Rather than feel like they need to compromise on these big issues. And the big issues that we've identified are 3 things that I think are really big. Number one, we've talked about data privacy. It sucks to feel like my iPhone is being subsidized by my data to Google, which it is, right? If Apple's getting tens of billions of dollars a year from Google, that means that the price of my iPhone is basically implicitly sort of rebated by my data, right? So that's a compromise I don't want to make. The free speech issue. Like, it's uncomfortable for me to be requiring a platform that has shown me, or platforms that have shown me they're not going to have my back if things are complicated, to like continue on that road, right? So we have our own app store, so we're able to use any Android app at all, but the top 10,000 apps that people use are on our servers. So if Google or Apple cancels them, they stay alive on our servers, right? So we think that's very important. And then the last compromise that I think people are tired of making is paying for phones that are deindustrializing our country and building the industrial base of another country that happens to be our adversary. Now, this is not like an anti-China pitch. I think China has done a great job. They should deserve a pat on the back. We should learn from them. But I think this issue of how the phones are made is a very, very big deal.
Yeah, we had gotten off this. This is a good time maybe to loop it back into Apple.
Sure.
Take a step back for a second and your concerns that you saw there.
So it's like, recently a great book has come out about this. I'll send you the link to it. I'm forgetting the name. The guy was on the Daily Show recently, or whatever Jon Stewart's show is. But it's a great book. I apologize, I'm forgetting his name. A great book about the empire of industrialization that Apple has installed in China.
Empire.
The numbers are insane. Tens of billions a year. Over and over and over. And I want to be clear, this isn't like Apple investing in Apple in China. This is Apple paying Chinese companies to build expertise. So building a phone is very hard. It's an order of magnitude more complicated than a laptop or a tablet. It's really challenging. The margin for error is zero. The tooling's the fact that this thing doesn't overheat is like insane. It's like the amount of compute in this space that it retains these thermal dynamics is like a miracle. It's very hard, okay?
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.